Welcome to this Arnold Culliford tutorial on mattress stitch. This video is part of our Confident Knitting series, 12 patterns to teach you 12 new techniques from the world's best knitting designers. Today's tutorial will show you how to seam the Saturnus cushions using mattress stitch. These cushions are designed by Jimenez Joseph and you'll find the pattern in our book Confident Knitting. The cushions are knitted in this direction in one long strip all the way round to the other end, and you then fold the strip in half, and starting at the rib you join the two sides together along here using mattress stitch. And as you can see, this is a really nice invisible seaming technique that gives a really great finish. The book includes two different options for the Saturnus cushions, one on a stocking stitch background and one on a reverse stocking stitch background. So as usual, this video is divided into chapters and I'm going to be showing you how to work the stocking stitch and reverse stocking stitch mattress stitches. Oh, a lot of stitches. If you hover over the time bar on the bottom here, then you can jump to the section you need. But both of the cushions seams start in the same way with some stocking stitch seaming on the rib section. One of the nice things about mattress stitch is that you work from the right side of the fabric, which means you can always see how your seam is looking and you can keep an eye on it as you go and sort out any problems as they arise. So your first task is to arrange your two ribbed sections that you're going to be joining so that they are right sides up. Now on the cushions this is one strip of knitting and you just can't see the fold bit, but obviously in other situations it might be two separate pieces of knitting. I'm using the tail from the cast on edge here, but you can also just weave in your ends so that your yarn is attached to that bottom corner, whichever you prefer is fine, and then thread it onto a tapestry needle. Our first task is to lock the two bottom corners together. So our yarn is coming out of the right hand corner and we're going to go through the bottom left hand corner as close to the point of that corner as possible, and we're going to go from the wrong side to the right side up through there. And then we're going to do the same on the right hand corner, just in that very pointy corner bit from the right side, from the wrong side through to the right side. And by doing that we make this kind of figure of 8 arrangement with the yarn, and that's just going to lock the two bottom corners there nice and tightly together. Having joined the bottom corners, we are now looking to identify the penultimate and the last stitch at the edge of the fabric. So the penultimate stitch, or the second stitch, whichever way around you want to think about it, is usually quite obvious, and then the very last one is normally a little bit folded round. As you can see here, this is the last one, and you can tell which one is the column of stitches because it looks on the right side like a V. So here we have a whole V, so that is a whole column of stitches, and everything to the left of this is the edge stitch. And we're going to take the whole of that edge stitch into our seam, which will leave just this nice neat looking column on either side of the seam. Having identified that whole column of stitches that we're going to leave complete, we're now going to do one tiny setup move. We're going to work out where the very top of that very bottom V stitch is. So here's the right hand side of that very bottom V in the complete column, and we're just going to go in just underneath it and we're going to come back just above it, and you should find that kind of behind that column of the edges of the V's, if you open up your fabric you'll see that there's like a ladder of strands of yarn between that whole stitch there and the one on the edge that is a bit of a mess. And so here we're just going to go in just below the top right corner of that V, and we're just going to pick up one strand of yarn between that second and first stitches on the edge, and that's just our little setup movement of one, and that keeps the stitches lined up. We've done our setup by taking one strand on the left, and we're now going to enter the main mattress stitch pattern, which involves taking 2 strands of yarn each time. So we're going to go into the fabric on the right hand side, pretty much where the yarn came out last time, and we're then going to go underneath 2 stitches, 2 strands of yarn. So we're working in that ditch between this complete stitch that we can see here and the edge stitch. And if you have a look, spread the stitches apart, you should be able to find 2 strands of yarn to go underneath there. And I'm going to leave these loose so that you can see the sort of ladder effect that you're going to make. We're now going back over to the left hand side, and we're going to put our tapestry needle back in where the yarn came out last time. And that always puts us in the right place and means that everything will lock up invisibly. And we should be able to pick up then, again, 2 strands of yarn between that complete stitch column and the edge stitch column there. Okay, again, I'm going to leave it a little bit loose so you can see how the yarn's coming through here, under 2 strands, back to the other side, back in the same spot, under 2 strands and out. And now we're going to come to the right again, and we're going to go back in where the yarn came out last time, again in that ditch between the 2 columns of stitches, and we're going to go underneath. Maybe dig around for it if you can't find it, but underneath those 2 horizontal bits of yarn. Okay, and then back to the other side, back in where it came out, under 2 strands of yarn, back up. And this makes a ladder arrangement either side of the seam, and you're going to love the next bit. Just each time, just separate it out, make sure you can see what's going on, that you've clearly got your 2 horizontal strands. Okay, and you can keep going like that. Just alternating sides, taking 2 rows each time. Okay, so once you've done a little bit, you're going to have this kind of arrangement of yarn making this ladder, and watch how satisfying this now is, because you're just going to gently hold it at the bottom and pull it tight, and it's just going to zip up and make those messy edge stitches completely disappear. So you've now got that column, and they're completely next to each other. They look just like the rib either side, and you've just completely disappeared the edge stitch. You can then just carry on going up your seam in exactly the same way, and while you're seaming stocking stitch, it's always going to look exactly like this. Once you come to the end of your seam, make sure you've given it a good tug along the length of the seam to make sure that your seam isn't puckering the surrounding fabric. And I've just come up on the right here under my 2 strands of yarn. Obviously at the top of the cushion this will be folded round fabric, but all you need to do is to go back into the left hand side, or it might be the right on yours, but you go back into the left hand side as you would if you were going to come back up again, but don't come back up, just take it through to the wrong side of the work, and then you're going to turn your work inside out. So this is how my seam looks on the inside. You can see all these slightly mucky edge stitches have all been neatly taken into that seam, and these ends will obviously be joined together, but you've come out of the fabric here, and all you're going to do is lock that very corner in place by just taking the needle through both sides of the fabric And I probably do that just a couple of times, just to give the end of the seam a bit of extra strength. And then all that you need to do, now that you've got that corner well attached as well, all you need to do is weave in your end down the seam and it'll be complete. If you're working the grab stitch 1x4 cushion, then you're going to need to seam the reverse stocking stitch as well as the stocking stitch, and you'll do this in a very similar way. So you start off by locking your corners together with the little figure of 8 by going up back to front through both corners, and you then take 1 strand on the first side and then 2 on every following side, and you're going to seam up your rib as demonstrated previously. When you come to the end of the rib section, my yarn has just come up here after going underneath 2 strands on the right hand side, and I'm now going to go back into the fabric on the left hand side, and here I'm about to come up under 1 more stocking stitch row, and then my next row is reverse stocking stitch, and here it actually gets easier because the strand of yarn that you're looking to catch is this one here, and it's in that row of purl bumps. It's the smile shaped one that's between the 2 stitches, so the kind of frown side of the purl bump is the top of that column of stitches, and the smile bit that goes between them is the strand of yarn you're looking to catch. So here we've caught the 2 just on that border between the stocking stitch and reverse stocking stitch, and then we're going to come over to the right hand side. We're going to go back into the fabric where the yarn came out, and now it's easy to see that we're picking up those 2 smiles, and you're looking to stay in the same column each time. That's how you keep your mattress stitch really, really neat. So the yarns come up on the left here, back where we're going in, and then we're going to go underneath this smile and the smile above it. And then we go over to the other side, back in where we came out, smile, smile, and that's all there is to it. The reverse stocking stitch is actually easier because you can see very clearly which strands of yarn you're needing to pick up. You're not trying to dig it out from between the 2 columns of stitches. And again, if you leave it a little bit loose to start with, you can then do that ever so satisfying tightening up of it. Give it a tug in the horizontal direction, and then you'll see that it's really neatly joined together. I'll just carry on so you can see how it looks when a bit more's done. I've come to the very top of the seam, and the yarn's just come out on the left hand side, so to finish it off it's worked in the same way as before. We go back through the work to the wrong side on the other side of the fabric, so here I've gone through the right hand corner, and then we turn over, and here you can see those are the edge stitches all neatly taken into the seam allowance. And all I need to do here at the top now is take the yarn around just to lock that top corner. Literally just making a little loop around the top of the seam. And with that all locked in place, I just need to weave in the end down the seam, and this will be complete. I do hope you found this tutorial on mattress stitch helpful, and that you'll feel really confident in seaming your Saturnus cushions, and indeed any other mattress stitch seaming that you need to do. We're able to keep our video tutorials free from adverts thanks to the support of our amazing customers. You can find out more about confident knitting by clicking the link up here to head over to our online shop. And to be sure of catching our next video tutorial, do subscribe to our YouTube channel with the button down here. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye bye.